talking about guys getting a chance to prove themselves in the tail end of a lost season. No better example of that in the NFL than the New York Jets, who installed an adult at quarterback. Let's be honest. Justin Fields not going to go out there and give you negative net passing yards anymore because you have Tyrod Taylor in the lineup. Not exciting, but competent. And that's exactly what these guys need, because you have a lot of young-ish players in their first season as New York Jets. We're going to talk about a couple of them. We're going to start with John Metchie the third, though. Metchie, a survivor, came back from cancer. Couldn't really carve out a spot with the Houston Texans. They had a lot of young wideouts there. They deal him to the New York Jets. And now we got to see a little bit of what he can do. 7 targets, 6 catches, and 65 yards and a touchdown. The only touchdown of the day for the Jets against the Ravens. So, Yash, do you want John Metchie or do you want his teammate, Adonai Mitchell?
I'll take John Metchie here because he's proven that his hands actually function as a catching apparatus for him versus AD Mitchell, which I'm starting to think at this point he'd be better off as a cornerback or a safety. Like he's got speed. He can keep up with anybody. He can cut with anybody. But it seems like he just gets hamstrung with anything that's not off his chest at this point. So I do remember the fanfare of John Metchie coming out. If anyone remembers, that was the year that Kendrick Bourne did the live stream with the Patriots at Mac Jones's house where they were all watching the draft. And it's one thing that sticks in my memory is him lobbying for Metchie. So I think it was in the 20. It was before they traded the pick. So 23rd, probably, I think is what they had. And I just remember Metchie. And of course they trade out, and then he just goes, all right, I guess we're not. And then later on in the draft, they once again had another shot at him. And I'm pretty sure that was the Cole Strange or whatever it was. It was the year where Bourne legit just shut down the stream and just went like, great. Like after all that fanfare. So it was just such an unfortunate thing with him with the leukemia that he had to go through. So long-winded way to say that I love John Metchie as a player. I'm rooting for him here, and I'm clearly taking him over AD Mitchell and his rock hands.
The former Alabama star, a guy near and dear to Mac Jones's heart, and a guy who we know can be a crisp route runner. He's been a safety valve for the Jets, right? I mean, Taylor took a lot of time getting the ball out, and he still defaulted to Metchie, even though Metchie, his average target distance was only 4.5 yards downfield. That's going to get you a lot of run with the Jets because they don't really have that take off the top option. That's what they want Adonai Mitchell to be. He's averaging more than 21 yards per target out there. And he's getting open, but one drop in each of his games as a Jet so far. A bit of a mess, can create space, but just he's in his own head too much. Yeah. So you get more big play utility out of Adonai Mitchell. There's no doubt about that. But he's going to turn 7 targets into 2 catches. A guy like Metchie can turn 7 into 6. There's a lot more PPR value in a guy like John Metchie than AD Mitchell. Next man up, 0% owned, but someone's got to catch passes for the New Orleans Saints. Devon Villay, a guy New Orleans went out and traded 4th and 7th round picks for, despite it being a rebuilding year. It's a 27-year-old wideout, only in the 2nd season. Did some okay work for the Broncos last year, has been anonymous until we saw him a little bit in week 12. Granted, New Orleans doesn't have Rashid Shaheed anymore. They're trying to turn Villay into that deep-ish threat. So, Yash, do you want Metchie or Villay in your lineup?
In the spirit of this activity, I'm once again going to stick with Metchie. We're trying to pick up a guy and keep a guy on our roster who we could utilize moving through week 13 forward. And Metchie has a better floor, in my opinion, just because of how he's being used. So when we're talking about throwing a guy in as a flex, potentially, I'd rather take that safe floor of Metchie. And seems like he's going to be able to meet that on a weekly basis as long as Tyrod Taylor is still starting for the Jets.
The one thing I like about Villay is that, one, he's not going to see as many double teams as a guy like Metchie might because he has Chris Olave there, and Olave is going to be the focus because Olave is getting 13 targets per game. Everyone's going to zero on him. So there's going to be an opportunity for Villay to get open. And I think he's got more of a prove-it situation with his quarterbacks, whether that's Tyler Shuck or my guy, Spencer Rattler. So I think they will be throwing downfield a little bit more often to a guy they want to make their deep threat. But like you said, the floor on a guy like John Metchie is a little bit higher, a little bit more stable. I think if you want a good daily fantasy bargain pickup, Valet could be a guy who really outshines expectations once or twice over the last 6 weeks of the season. Whereas a guy like Metchie could give you a baseline 10-ish points per game from here on out, as long as Tyrod Taylor continues to run the offense. And finally, I mean, we're scraping through the bottom of the waiver wire here. It's rough out there if you need a wideout. But here's a guy I've had the chance to watch a lot living in Wisconsin, Chimere Dike. The Tennessee Titans, maybe kind of sort of wide receiver one. Cameron Ward had a nice game in week 12. Can he build off it? Do you want Dike in your lineup or do you want John Metchie?
Kind of a coin flip here because neither offense is very good right now. Neither quarterback is very reliable right now.
So true.
Running games, I mean, both of them have serviceable running backs here. I'll go DK only because he's been there the entire season with Cam Ward. So he's a little more acclimated in their offense. And I do like the fact that Cam Ward's buddy from Miami, Restrepo, got a little involved yesterday too. So that could also open up things for DK where, maybe he gets a little bit more opportunity with a little more running room there. So I'll stick with him, even though this is another coin flip for me, but I'll slightly lean towards DK just because of the opportunity.
Defense has got to go out there and respect Xavier Restrepo's 4.8 second 40 speed. No doubt. DK is a little bit of a mess, but he's also a guy who has that versatility. He has the straight line speed to be a deep threat. And he played not long enough with Graham Mertz to be a possession receiver close to the line of scrimmage. So I kind of trust him a little bit more to be a buoy for a shaky quarterback than some of the other guys on this list. Metchie doesn't have to deal with that. Obviously, he's got a more established QB who is going to find him when he's open, which gives Metchie a little bit of an edge. But I think DK's ability to get downfield with 4.4 speed, to create space, to make guys miss, and we saw it on that punt return. He is explosive. He is a high ceiling player in a low ceiling offense. So I do think I want DK just a little bit more than John Metchie, but it's going to depend on your circumstance. If you're pretty happy with your playoff seating right now, go with the steady guy. If you need a boom bust kind of situation, Chimere Dike could be your guy.
Yeah.